Well, hello everybody. We're live. I'm here with Thomas from Tarot Your Way, and we are going to do the Psychic Profiles interview. Yay! And we've had a little time to talk because I've never had the opportunity to meet Thomas before, and this has been kind of fun. And that was so screwy. What I did last week was I created a StreamYard for you and not the Zoom. And I somehow got it twisted in my head and I thought you were covered. And I had these people waiting in line. There were 16 of them waiting. And Dr. Gail calls me and she said, "You're supposed to be on the air." And I go, "No, I'm not." And she said, "Yeah, you are." And so I went and looked and oops. And I hadn't gotten it. Thank God you weren't waiting for me there. That's the bane of my existence, is setting up interviews with people and then they don't show. Makes me crazy. So how is the wonderful world of Houston?
Houston's a little chilly today. We don't get that for too long down here, so that's good. Waiting for the sun to come back and warm us up.
Okay. Well, okay, we're going to start with the questions. And when did you first realize you might have psychic abilities?
I didn't start out as having psychic abilities until I started reading tarot, and that was in '96. I had a tarot reading at a local Renaissance festival here in Texas, and it was accurate enough that I got interested and went out to Barnes and Noble and got a Rider-Waite-Smith deck and a couple books, and started reading on how to read the tarot. And a coworker saw that I had a book and asked if I would read at a charity that she belonged to. So one day in October for their fall bazaar, I went out and read 28 readings of Celtic crosses, 15 minutes of duration, spoke from 10 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, lost my voice. I was not a big talker at the time, but and you'd have to shout over the bagpipes and the drummers and the choir coming through every half hour for entertainment. So it was baptism by fire, but I found out that while doing these readings that strange wording would pop up in my head, and I would say that phrase that had popped into my head, and they'd say, "Oh, my dad or my spouse or my grandpa or grandma used to say that to me all the time." And sometimes they were strange turns of phrase. So
it wasn't you weren't hearing in your own voice,
right? I was hearing like local or even family colloquialisms, not words that I would come up with. So I decided that the clairaudience hits that I was getting were how I was becoming psychic because of reading the tarot.
Okay. Was there a single aha moment, or was it just sort of gradually built over time?
I think that first day that I was reading, there were about 5 aha moments when people just sat with their mouth agape, like, how do you know that? And I said, well, the cards told me. I didn't know. The cards told me.
They have a hard time understanding that sometimes. And did you notice any? Have you thought back in your life and realized you had unusual experiences as a child?
Oh yes. Yeah. Ever since I could remember, probably starting at the age of 4,
Okay.
having different experiences.
Because that's how a
Having
lot of people figure it out.
having uncanny ability to read the room and read the situations, and know when to be alert and to observe.
Mhm. Okay. And because, I think a lot of things like that I kind of blew off as a kid as I grew up. And then as I became more aware, then I found out, oh, well, this is really part of it. This is what we're doing. How did the people around you react when you began to have your experiences?
Um, my family was in pretty much total denial. They chalked it up to a youthful imagination, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and not till later when I told them specific things about their deceased family members that I didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
um, but only one grandmother. Um, the things that I told them and the descriptions, and um, you know tell them about the conversations with their relatives that I'd had, and you know Pop showed up, wants me to tell you that he loves you.
Oh, that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. My family didn't want to talk to each other when they were alive, much less when they were dead. Kind of took care of that. Did you seek training? I know you said you read a lot of books and you
Yes.
started with the Rider Waite deck. Did you get other decks along the way to kind of?
um I pretty much stuck with the Rider Waite until I started my channel nearly 3 years ago, and then I started getting other Rider Waite based decks, and now I've gone into Oracle. I didn't even know that Oracle existed until I started watching Tarot Tube
Mhm.
during the pandemic.
Well,
So I've been reading with Oracle rules more lately, um, along with the tarot, but the tarot still is my main tool.
good. And do you have any specific tools other than the cards that have become part of your what you work with?
I do candle work and crystals, just have them around for energy
Yeah,
protection.
they all sort of flow together. You kind of can't get be around one without finding the other. Do you have any mentors or teachers? Did you have anyone that you relied on for that?
I did not have any mentors or teachers, but I am finding mentors along the way here on the internet with the other readers
Hmm.
on channels.
Very good. And how did you learn to tell the difference between what was a psychic impression and what was your imagination?
My clairaudience is still in my voice,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something a little bit different than when it's my own thought,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to something coming in. And usually, I'll have like tinnitus,
Mm-hmm.
um, like right before I get a strong hit. It always comes in on my right side.
Oh, cool. Okay. And then how did you do the trust building you had within yourself with what you were hearing?
Well, it just came to pass. The
Okay.
information that was given to me, came came true eventually. Within the time that it needed to show itself.
Okay. And are there any moments when you've doubted yourself?
Um, sure, we all have that spark of doubt in our minds, and it's that little child trying to protect itself, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and with with the things that have come to pass that um, have eliminated most of the doubts.
Yeah, that's kind of the best thing you can do is say what you need to say and see what happens, And how do you handle skepticism from yourself as well as others?
Um, I'm probably the most skeptic of myself. Other people that come to me for readings, uh, they I don't know if they have an implicit trust or are just so open to receive the knowledge that the cards have or the messages that come through me.
Yeah, because I think sometimes um, when we're thinking about that for ourselves, you go, that doesn't look like this could be right. But yet, and you'll see the person light up like, oh, yeah, that's right. And you're like, okay, it just, you have to kind of put that preconceived part of yourself to one side. And um, have your abilities gone through stronger or weaker phases? Like, is there a time of year or a situation that you feel stronger or weaker?
It all the energy pretty much goes with the state of my health. The healthier I am, the stronger I become, and when I'm weakened, the abilities just sort of I have to work to pull the information towards me. Um, you know, then I know it's time to rebalance myself, ground myself, just sit back, take a few cleansing breaths, and try to pull it together for the moment.
Hmm. Okay. And how do you protect your energy when you're out in the world?
Um, I do feel the energies when I'm out in the world. I do not do well in crowds or arenas, so I do more singular pursuits when I'm in the outside world. Sort of, how can I negotiate grocery shopping without um, getting in the way of a clogged aisle with 16 children,
Yeah.
things like that.
Stay out of the cereal aisle. That's the best news I can tell you to do that. Do you have any go to rituals that you use?
I just light candle or light incense and say a little prayer um, for most beneficial outcome and protection for me and those I'm reading for.
Okay. And do you think psychic abilities are innate or someone work to develop them?
I, my channel is called Tarot Your Way. It's all about teaching people how to read the tarot, and to grow their abilities to bring out the innate psychic abilities in everyone. It's like I knew I had psychic experiences in my past, but I didn't know how strong they would get with the reinforcement of the tarot.
Okay, yeah. And how is it? How has this work changed your worldview or beliefs around life and death?
Um, we all think of our mortality, and I'm no longer afraid because I have the knowing that a soul's essence does not die when the physical body dies.
Mm-hmm. Souls are a whole nother bunch of critters. And what is one of the most powerful readings you've ever done? And
Um,
what made it memorable for you?
one of the ladies who kept coming back at the charity bazaar, and the reading that I had was um, that there was corporate embezzlement going on, and she had to be the whistleblower, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and she was severely retaliated against,
Mm.
um, and then had to go appear in court at a trial for her former boss who was doing the embezzling.
Ugh.
Uh, and it all came out in the reading, and she's like, I got to tell you what's been going on. And,
Mm-hmm.
she just laid it out. She's like, you know, I knew you were accurate, but how do you know this stuff? And I said, you've seen me year after year. We shuffle the
Mm-hmm.
cards till you tell me to stop, and the cards tell me what you influenced them to say.
So how did it end up for her?
Um, well, she didn't get her job back, but she got financial compensation.
From the good. Glad to hear that. Um, how do you deliver sensitive or complex messages when you see one that's coming? Do you have a sort of a stance you take about dealing with that?
If it's highly personal or sensitive, I just suggest that uh, people contact me after the show
Mm-hmm.
through my email, so I can deliver a more personal message to them. That may not be appropriate for public consumption.
Yeah, Thomas and I had a discussion before about kind of how things ran, and he and I both agreed there are just things people will ask in the chat, and you're like, I can't answer that. I mean, I could answer that, but I can't answer that because, I can't see the whole world around you, and it's a pretty shocking thing to have to say, whatever it is. So that, and so when we're putting you on, when we're doing that, it's not that we're trying to get more money, doing a reading or anything else. It's we're protecting you.
Yeah, and it's one thing to see somebody's uh, dirty laundry hanging out to dry after it's been cleansed, but while it's still dirty, nobody wants to see it wadded up in the hamper.
That's true. Ooh, that was a way of putting it. Ooh. What advice would you give someone starting to explore their gifts?
Um, that it takes time, but you got to be persistent in the practice. You got to make it a part of your daily ritual. If
Mm-hmm.
you can only devote 30 minutes of your day to it, pick the time of day, try to keep the same ritual, the same space, light a candle of intention, do whatever makes you comfortable in
Mhm.
your area, and do your study. And then
Mhm.
also meditate and learn how to slow down and get in tune with yourself.
Mhm.
Um, we all have a million thoughts flying through our minds at all times, but you got to quiet your mind to let that energy um, dissipate, to allow new things to be brought in.
Yes. And the other thing is sometimes there is a thing called fake it till you make it. Sometimes you just need to really try to sit down and get yourself calm and start to meditate. And because a lot of people will try it once and they'll go, "Oh, I can't do that." You need
Yeah.
to give yourself more of a shot at it.
And when I started my channel, hearing my recorded voice back was really disgusting to me, and
Mhm.
I get nervous, and you know get the sweats, and you know
Mhm.
be all anxious about my shows. But after you do it a few times, you get into your rhythm, you get um, calm and centered, and uh, now it's easier to come on and do a live show than to do a pre-recorded show and do the editing and all that other fussy stuff that you don't need to.
Mm-mm. I never did the fussy stuff. I just do the show. I just and um, are there any daily habits that you would recommend? Daily exercises that you would recommend?
I would say meditation,
Mm-hmm.
and um, just handle your tools, whether it be an oracle deck or your cards. Just sit and shuffle while you watch television. Just
Mm-hmm.
practice your shuffling till you get good at it. Of course, you're going to have flyers, and if that's the way you want to read tarot, you read the ones that fall out. Um, I'm not all that adept with physical agility, so
Mm-hmm.
if one card flies out, it's meant to. If 10 cards fall down, then it's just me being a futz.
Mm-hmm. Those cards are awkward.
Yes, I tend to use uh, smaller decks, like tarot in a 10 size, because
Okay.
my hands manage that better than a full size tarot or oracle deck.
Cool. Okay. And that is a good thing. There are different size decks. You don't have to get the world's most gigantic deck. You can find smaller versions of many of them if you look for them. Um, how can anyone find a trustworthy psychic in the community as as just be part of the community or as a mentor?
Um, if if you just trust yourself, go with your feelings. Um, there are many brick and mortar stores here in the Houston area that are out and out grifters.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to pay the rent
Mm-hmm.
with their abilities. Um, I very rarely read for money. You know,
Mm-hmm.
usually it's a pay it forward, or maybe a barter system. Uh, I've got everything I need to exist anything extra is a blessing. And I don't go hungry because of anything in the way. So,
Okay. And then, okay, here's the last question. What's the biggest lesson you've learned in your psychic journey?
the biggest lesson I've learned is um, we're one with Source.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe in miracles, expect a miracle to happen in your life.
Very good. So we did have one person who popped a question in. I usually don't take questions off the chat when I'm doing this show, but somebody wanted to know what's your favorite tarot card?
Oh, what's my favorite tarot card? I would say the High Priestess.
What intrigues you about her?
That she holds the key to the Akashic records, and um, if you ask the wrong question, she'll answer you, but you have to ask the right questions to gain access to her true knowledge.
Ah, I see how you see that one plays out. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing to our people that we're all got?
Um, it's been a pleasure being on, and thank you for inviting me to the garden.
Okay. And
Uh,
this is
you
how you can reach Thomas.
Thank you. Yeah, anybody can learn how to read tarot. Uh, you don't have to believe in yourself, but reading the tarot consistently, you will develop a deep belief in yourself and in your abilities.
Do you ever read along with other readers that are, I mean, not that you're doing a formal show, but say they're doing a show and do you ever go along and read along with them to see how close you can come to where they are?
Um, I did that before I started my channel,
Okay.
um, but I wouldn't pop in the comments. I got this.
No, no, I understand. I'm just saying, I think for people sometimes, well, what questions do I need to ask? Well, you've got a whole bunch of folks that have questions that
Right.
are
Yeah.
out there.
You can practice that way. You can um, get the headline news and read on headlines of the day. You can interview historical figures and ask
Hmm.
the questions about them.
Do mediumship that way. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I just blanked. I had one more question I was going to ask you. And oh, what have you got going on now? I mean, I know you're retired and you're kind of figuring out how to get your thing all together, but
Um, what's going on now is I've got my tarot channel. I've got a jigsaw puzzle channel that I'm starting up.
cool.
But my emphasis still will be on tarot, and um, I appear on a shadow work show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And we do that shadow work to help heal people's inner child and help
When
them.
is that? What day?
Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central Time, and
Okay.
it's hosted by Hershey the Shadow Reader,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been doing that since I invited Hershey on shortly after I started my channel.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's been going on for a couple of years now.
That's good. It's a good, I think sometimes people are confused about shadow work and they don't know how to get started in it, or they don't want to do it on their own, but they just don't quite know where to go with it. And I'm glad to hear you're doing that.
Yeah. I didn't start working on my shadow till 2018. I wish I would have done it much sooner, because after you clear all of that out of your mind, out of your daily tapes that run through your mind, you have such a higher quality of daily living than what you put yourself through unnecessarily.
That's right.
In the period before that, life gets better and better if you clear your shadow work.
Well, I want to thank you for showing up here, and I want to invite the audience to continue to, if you haven't liked and subscribed to my channel, that's the way you get to know when the psychic profiles are coming back up. I'm also running my Advent crystals for the 25 days of Christmas. That's on right now. I'm doing my readings with Jeffrey once a week on just kind of the general energy of everything. And I've started over on Substack, and you can find Nancy Jean's Garden on Substack. And I'm doing a different selection of crystals over there for crystal advent calendars. And then you'll be pleased to know, Thomas, you'll be one of the shows that'll be thrown over there. I'm going to set them up once I get more used to the technology that's over there. And so you'll be added to that. So it'll be another place for people to come and see what we do and how we function.
I haven't investigated that yet, but I hear that's a lot of people are shifting some of their programming over there.
Well, I won't go into the mechanics, but it's a lot easier than what we deal with on this end. But anyway, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you to all the people who showed up and then are listening to us. Hit like, subscribe, please comment, and share after the show. Thank you. That also helps. And I can't tell you, it's so nice to meet you today, and meeting a fellow Texan who came from the Midwest and wandered down here and hadn't figured out quite how to get out yet. But we'll I'll hope to see everybody later. I'll be on Sunday with Scott that's the only time I do politics. And I want to thank everyone for showing up. Bye-bye.